Hello, parents. I, Leena Raut, welcome you all on GenX Parenting. And today, once again, we have with us counseling psychologist and certified sex educator, Ms. Desire Diaz. After our last vlog on periods, let's talk right, we thought of having another video about sex education, why to do it, when to do it, and how to do it. If you have missed our last vlog on menstruation talk, the link is flashing right now. We are also going to share it in the description, so do check it out. And yes, if you haven't subscribed to GenX Parenting so far, do it right now. Watch this video till the end because by design, this topic is little elaborative. So let us understand how to help our children with sex education in age-appropriate manner. Over to you, ma'am.
I have always maintained that if a child is old enough to ask the question, they are old enough to deserve an answer. So the girls, I've had one girl who asked, but then how does the baby become from the egg only? Or, what happens? So, this is the sex question. So I wasn't really completely prepared to answer it. But what I did tell this child, and of course, all the children listening, the girls listening, is that two people, a man and a woman, okay, have to do something and be very, very close to each other. So that the man has something and the girl or the woman has the egg. And when they come very close to each other is what I said. Okay. It's passed on, and then if it meets the ovum, that's when the baby enters the womb and begins to grow. And that instruction was more than enough. So they could have, I was lucky. She could have asked further, but how? Can you tell me how? Right? Scientifically, how? So I think vocabulary about their private parts is really important. So I say vulva, I say vagina, I say cervix, I say ovaries, I say fallopian tubes. For the boys, I say scrotum, penis, shaft, foreskin, all of that, so that they're comfortable with the terminology. I think it's even with the larger case of abuse, which is so rampant with our young girls and boys, I think it is very, very important that young people are able to say, in an articulate manner, that somebody has touched my vagina. Okay. And has, touched me in an inappropriate manner. So I think that vocabulary becomes very, very important with young children. So it's better to say, so with my son is 9 now. From the very beginning, I have said penis. Even as a baby, I have always said penis to him. Okay. Even though other family members have said pee, I have always used the word penis. So if you had to ask him, even at this stage, what is that part between your legs called, he will say penis. Okay. So I think it is extremely empowering for a young person, boys and girls, to know the right vocabulary for their body parts. Just like they know elbow and nose and ears and hands, they must know penis, they must know breast, they must know vagina, they must know these words. Okay. Any course that you take on child sexual abuse, trainers will always tell you that the reason many children don't report abuse is because they don't have the words. They don't have the vocabulary to tell their parents that this is what was touched. Okay. Or even if they have an infection or a burning sensation, they're not able to articulate and tell you. Okay. So it is so important to give children and make it okay. Like with young boys, when I have this conversation with 10-year-old boys, I talk about erections. I talk about ejaculation. I talk about sperm and, masturbation also. So I think
Capacity to understand this. I mean, do they accept it?
they do. So they do. So, it's a scientific, you see, if it's said in a way that is just scientific, kids are not bothered at all. At all. So what I say is that even a 5-month-old baby boy, you are a mom of 2 boys. Okay. I don't know if you have noticed it, that even a 5-month-old is capable of an erection. Now, an erection in a grown man is associated with sexual fantasy. But for a little baby, there is no sexual fantasy. It is maybe a cold wind when you change the baby's diaper. You'll find the penis getting erect. It is just an organ that has blood vessels there. And when there is a stimulus, whether it is cold or whether he is touched in a certain way, the penis will become erect.
Okay. So that's
It's
my
as plain as that. It's as plain as that. They must know that, because boys need to know how to pull their foreskin back and clean the penis of the smegma. Okay, which if it's not pulled back and cleaned, grown boys have a lot of issues there. And as common as UTIs are with girls, it can be very, very complicated to treat in men. They will have to be hospitalized for a UTI.
As a mother of 2 boys, I always feel that it is responsibility of a parent to raise men who are sensitive towards women. Do you think educating boys also about the changes his fellow girl classmates or fellow girl friends who are undergoing will make them sensitive towards it, and we do our bit in terms of ensuring comfort to women?
So there is 2 parts to this. So what I was talking about earlier, Leena, was for boys to understand their own bodies, because for them to understand the functions of their penis and to understand how it needs to be, what kind of hygiene is associated with it. Okay. And it becomes, so I was talking about smegma and things like that, which gets more intense at puberty. Okay. With regards to understanding what's happening with girls, now this is, it's a very touchy topic, because because I'm attached to a school, we have to keep in mind as counselors the culture of the school. If you have to ask me personally, if I had a daughter, I would have sat my son and daughter down and explained both of the things to them. Okay, whether it is about the penis, about vagina, about menstruation, everything to both of them equally, because both need to know. But there is still this element of shame and element of how can you tell boys, they'll make fun of girls. I think boys and girls equally need to know about these body functions. And as they learn all the other systems, excretory and digestive and respiration, why can't they learn about reproduction? Now, I know that in certain curricula, specifically, I'm more aware of ICSE. In grade 8, there is detailed chapters on reproduction. Okay, so a lot of it gets covered there in grade 8. Okay, in terms of the science behind it. Okay, but there are a lot of emotional changes also that take place. Okay, boys and girls understand sex, and I think some conversation about the responsibility around sex needs to happen. So to understand, to put it in perspective, intercourse is just one aspect of one's sexuality. Okay, so to explain that to children, takes some skill and takes some sort of patience, because when we do this talk with our ninth graders, we have both girls and boys. Okay, there we are not talking specific organs, but we are talking about relationships. We're talking about um, there are these hormones raging, and we typically start with a game called sex is dot dot dot. Complete the sentence. Okay, and we get a lot of giggles and a lot of laughs, and the girls are typically very uncomfortable. But the boys will give you fun and exciting and ninth graders. Yeah. Yes. It's exciting and thrilling and all of those other things. And they're getting a lot of their information from the media. So I've had young people, boys, tell me that all I need is my phone. Everything is accessible on the phone, which means pornography. So all of their information and all of their understanding of what intercourse is all coming from pornography. And I always have this, I look them in the eye and tell them that pornography is not intimacy. Okay. And for them to understand this, that it completely changes the wiring of your brain. And when you do have a intimate relationship with your partner, you may not be able to do what you're expected to do because your brain is so used to those images.
Yeah.
Okay, that you're seeing in pornography. And believe me, they're young. They don't fully buy what I say, but they listen. They do listen. After that conversation, I'll have many boys coming to me and saying, Miss, I am masturbating all the time. I'm compulsively doing it. How do I stop? How do I concentrate on my studies? Because it's taking attention away. So, what they need and what this conversation in a school environment does for children is that it opens a window and it opens and gives them an opportunity to say that there is an adult who is okay with these conversations, one, and is ready to give us the correct information and is not shaming us. Okay, because many will say, oh my God, your head is filled with such filth and you're, thinking about all of these things. What is wrong with you? You should be focusing on maths and science and, all of those things. But this is the teenage brain. Their brain is very, very much focusing on sex and sexuality. And that brings us to the other side of attraction. That am I attracted to boys being a boy? Am I attracted to a girl being a girl? Do I like both boys and girls? So I think it's so important for therapists or an understanding teacher who's trained in this area to be able to be empathetic towards these young people, because they are exploring at this stage and it is expected. The exploration is expected, but they need a space to talk about it as plainly. Okay. So typically, if a young person comes to me and says, what, I think I'm gay, or I think I'm bi, they're looking at my face for how am I responding? Is she gonna say, what are you saying, huh? So when they get empathy, they are shocked beyond belief. Okay. And, then the real issues start to come. Right. So that is just shock value sometimes for us to, so it opens. So we start this conversation, at least in my school, right from preschool, where we talk about safe touch and unsafe touch. We never say good and bad. There is enough research in this area because an inappropriate touch can feel good. Your body takes over and you start to get aroused. Okay. So the correct terminology is not good touch, bad touch. It is safe touch and unsafe touch. So we start this education right from nursery. Nursery kids are 3 years old. Okay. And whatever rudimentary understanding they have of what is safe, what is not safe, we keep drilling it into children.
Okay.
And believe me, they understand. They do. We go one-on-one to the classroom with 20 children or whatever, and just like circle time, we sit and talk about this with charts, with pictures, you know, with just a gingerbread outline saying your lips, your chest, the part between your legs and your bottoms. These are the 4 areas that nobody is supposed to touch, look at, okay? And you are not supposed to look at those parts of somebody else's. So this is the kind of education. So as young as 3, when they start having vocabulary, okay, you can have the conversation with them at their level.